Hi guys. So it's about 3 a.m. here. Well, 3:43 a.m. here in Glendale, California. I tend to go to bed early, so I'm often up in the middle of the night or quite early. Now this video is about exercising your pinky finger, and you may already do this, exercise your pinky finger. It hadn't occurred to me to do it till recently, so I thought I'd put it up. I often have the idea that if I haven't thought of something, perhaps others haven't too. Anyway, one thing about me that's interesting is I've been living on milk for about 8 years. So I drink close to 2 gallons a day of milk, or about 7 liters. I'm trying to get the medical establishment to test my idea that living on milk might help with various diseases like cancer, AIDS, well, a lot of different diseases, diabetes, overweight, stress and depression, or mental illness. And I just mentioned that because I kind of want to make people more aware that it might help that way, and that I'm trying to get that tested. But the exercises, well, I actually exercise with milk jugs quite a bit, milk containers. And like I say, I got interested in them with my pinky. So the thing is with milk containers I do is basically just find different ways to sort of hold them with my hands and move them around. Now here I have an empty milk container, and the reason I have it is because pinky exercises or little finger exercises are kind of hard for me because I just started doing them, and an empty container is not as heavy as a one with milk in it. So I do exercises with containers that have milk in them too, but in this case the empty ones are easier. So when I exercise with my hands with milk jugs, it's basically just kind of finding different ways to hold the container. Now here I've put my hand sort of under the container, and I'm just balancing it and kind of moving it around, and that's a little difficult. Now here I've sort of gripped the container. You see my thumb back there. That's a pretty easy one, and I can move that around. I can put it off camera and move it around, and now I've let it slip to where my thumb is down. Just my thumb is holding it on the handle. And there's all kinds of obvious. If you start playing with your hands with milk containers, you'll find many different ways to hold it and move it around. And I've addressed that in other videos. But the pinky one, the one that's hard for me with the pinky, is to put my pinky in here and then, let's see, hold. Well, this is going to be hard to show you. Now, the pinky, in this case, what I've done is I've put the pinky so that the top of my pinky is up. If you put it like that, it's really kind of easy to hold the container with your pinky. But if you rotate it so that the top of your pinky is holding up the container, that is harder. I don't really know why. I'd have to think about it for a while. But there's more stress on the bones of the pinky when it's holding it with the top up. Now my pinky has already gotten a little strong, so I'm doing this a little more easily, but it's a stress on the pinky. If you do these, you'll find that at first it is kind of stressful. It'll feel kind of funny if you've not done any pinky exercises, but it will it will come to feel somewhat easier as you do it more. And I think it's kind of neat actually to exercise your pinky. Now, because then when you actually start to go do things with your hands, you find that you use your pinky more, and it helps you do things kind of more efficiently. I'll give you an example. Now, in this room, there's a remote control for a TV, and I'll show it to you. So this is a remote. Now, before, if I went to hit the mute switch, I'd always hit it with my index finger, like I'm doing here. But actually, if I'm holding this with my left hand and I go to hit this mute button, since the mute is on the left and my pinky's on the left, if I should want to press that mute button, I could do it with my pinky. And it'd be a little more efficient than moving my index finger over to do it, because the pinky's right there, they're both on the left. So when you exercise your pinky, you become more aware of places where you can actually use your pinky. So that's pretty nifty. That expands what you do with your hands. I'll show you another one. Sometimes when you, now I sit and watch TV sometimes with a milk container on a tray, and this milk container, let's see, can I move this into frame here? So you see the milk container sitting on a tray here. It's kind of also good exercise. You can, and there's a little channels on the bottom of the milk container. I think they're so workers who are moving these around can lift them more easily. They can slip their hand into the channel to lift the container. In my case, I can slip my pinky into this channel and just try to lift the milk jug. And that's, at least for me, since my pinky isn't very developed, that feels like it's putting a stress on the pinky. It's genuine exercise. And so I feel like it's making my pinky stronger. Now you can slip other fingers. Now you can try to slip other fingers under there too. This, sometimes I try to, well, I can't show it to you here. A TV tray has a little raised edge, and the back of the container will kind of, I'd have to think about it. It's kind of a good exercise for dexterity to kind of try to slip your fingers under the milk container, and then you can pick it up actually. Now in this case I'm doing it, I'm keeping my right hand behind the milk container to kind of brace it. And I'd have to find out, but when I've done it on the TV tray, I've actually been able to do it just with the one hand. And I'm not sure, it must catch on something, the container must catch on something on the back that keeps it from slipping. It might be the raised edge of the tray. But that's a good exercise for dexterity. And it stresses out your fingers. It's genuine exercise on those little muscles that are in your hand. And I'll show you, I think this will be the last thing. Now this is a container that has some milk in it. It actually also has some spinach, because sometimes I put solid food in my milk. But I'll try to do the pinky exercise. Now this is much harder. I can't even lift this up and move it around. I can get the pinky in and I can hold it, but I couldn't move it around much because it's heavier, because it has milk in it. but it's still exercise even to try to lift it. Or sometimes if I'm working my pinky and this is too heavy to lift, I'll just sort of tilt it back and forth on whatever surface it's on. So I think that's about all I want to say about it at the moment. But I find it actually makes life more fun when your hands are more dexterous, and then when you go to do things with your hands, like I say, you do them more kind of efficiently, skillfully. So I'd encourage you to give this stuff a try. Thanks.